Good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday. I hope everybody out there is having a good weekend. We have accomplished a couple things in the van this weekend, and I wanted to just give you a quick progress update on those, so let's take a look at it. So if you recall, in the rear of the van, we had finished out the passenger side wall coverings and so forth. Last week we had this top piece to do. We did that. I posted a video on putting in the 12-volt dimmer switch. So again, we didn't cover, you can see actually the bottom of the 1/2-inch plywood. We didn't cover the whole thing with plywood here because the rib nuts on this side just weren't working out. And honestly, I really didn't need them. I just needed a wall covering because we're not going to mount anything except for that switch up there. So we just put a smaller piece up there that we could get enough that we could put in the cedar. And what we're going to do with this cord from the factory is we're going to tuck this in right in along here, and we're going to put a piece of cover trim over top of that down here. So that's something yet we have to do. As I think last week we checked in, we had put this piece up. We did trim him out. Again, I've got it's kind of our ode to cedar, if you will, in this van. So we have put a ton of cedar up everywhere I have trim needed. We have a stack of cedar downstairs, so I'm just utilizing that for trim. The piece that we hadn't finished out last week when we last checked in was this back panel. We did, I had it up there, but I wasn't sure entirely how to mount it. So let me kind of back up here, make sure I get it on the camera. So we had cut it out, and this piece of wood here was already mounted. These two here are going to be, I'm going to put some overhead cabinets in here. So what I did though is I had 3 rib nut holes here, so it's bolted down there with 3 rib nuts and a 1/4 20 bolt, and I have another rib nut in here with a 1/4 20 bolt. So these were the 4 bolts that I was able to put in it to kind of initially get it down. The way I fastened the rest of it was, and remember, that's a hollow piece in the back of there. That's one of those inserts that behind there, that there's probably about a 2.5-inch gap behind there. So what I did was I took a couple, these were 90-degree pieces I had gotten at the Home Depot, and I straightened them out on the vise. And this piece of wood here is 1/2 inch. This is 3/4 inch, and the trim, the cedar trim we're using is 1/4 inch. So what I did was just laid a piece of trim down to kind of make up and make this nice and flat. Flattened this out, bolted this in, and that lashed down the top on the side here into the kitchen cabinet. This is a piece of 3/4 birch that we used for the side of the cabinet. So I put a nice strong 90-degree in there and bolted it in there, so that's not going anywhere. And then if you recall, we had this board going down along the bottom here, and what I did was I took 2 more 90 degrees just like this one, put them in the vise, measured them, and then I bent them again, and I needed a little spacer in there. So what I did was I bolted them down, and that holds the whole thing really tight actually. The piece we added to this was this little panel here. I needed a piece, and I showed you this in a previous video. I needed a piece that gave me my voltage for the battery in the back, and this also gives me a 12-volt cigarette lighter and a couple of USB charging ports that we can use. And I had somebody comment about the voltage meter on this and the fact that we're using the Goal Zero. You kind of see it down through there, the Goal Zero lithium-ion battery, and that my meter would be different. I have been keeping an eye on it. I wasn't aware that might be a factor, but this actually is matching the battery so far really well. I've let it kind of just run and see what's going on, and actually this has kept up with, whatever this is saying is what the meter on the battery is saying. So, but I will keep an eye on that just to make sure. But this actually worked out really nice because the fact that I have this little 12-volt piece here, we do have up in the cabinet over here, we purchased this little 12-volt fan. So when we're in the you know, when we're out and camping and so forth and we need some extra airflow, put this guy here, pop this guy into here, and I can utilize, oh, turned him off. So I can utilize this guy for a little extra airflow in here. So that works out really nice. So that kind of gives us a little power meter back here, and that works out well. So the other piece we've been trying to figure out, you know, is, again, as I said, we've been trimming this all out here. I also put a piece of trim on here, put some quarter round down here. We need to paint that board yet white. We've been working on trim throughout the van. We put some quarter round going up this cabinet. I do need to put a little wood filler. This was kind of a hollow piece here on the side of this cabinet. I need to fill that in and paint it. But one of the things we've been trying to figure out is, what do we do? Do we just leave this space here white? And what we decided to do, and we're researching the best way to do this so that it comes out right, is put a map of the United States there. And we did find one here on, I just unpacked it. So we have this 3D map of the United States that's laminated, and what we're going to do, and this is 24 by 36, this map, and what we're going to do is epoxy that right in there, and I think that's going to have a really nice look to it. So those are the things that we accomplished this weekend, or this past week, and we continue to just pick little pieces. But the cool thing is, we're kind of coming down. I'm gonna say I've been saying for a couple of months we're coming down to the end here, but it seems like this project never really ends, because we keep finding little pieces yet we need to do the overhead cabinets. I keep totally forgetting that I need to make cabinet doors for the kitchen cabinet here. Bungee cords just work so well. But we also need to make, we were thinking about a rod holder for our fly rods on this side, and or actually maybe a wine rack or something on this side. And then on this side, maybe since the cabinet is here, we were going to make a rod holder for our fly rods there. So when we're chilling around, we can go fly fishing wherever we find a good stream. So there's lots of places like that we keep finding in the van, that we've been so focused on these bigger areas that we just, you know, these smaller areas, hey, we still need to make a piece for that yet. And there's another space down here we need to deal with as well. So that's kind of where we're at with the van right now. We're getting there, and it's really starting to feel homey. We're really liking the way it's come out. As I said, there's still some little pockets and pieces we need to work on, and we'll put some videos out of those. That whole rear door area we're going to coat in some kind of material, and back behind there for the entrance into the garage underneath the platform, the second floor there, we want to put some doors and some roller drawers out there, so we need to figure all of that out. So we still have plenty of work to do in here, but we've got the van to a point now where it's very homey, it's very usable, and we're good to go, and while we continue to work on it. So until next time, this is Ken signing off. We'll see you down the road. Like the video. If you like the content we're putting out, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you later. Peace.